Cecil, I hope you're having a wonderful afternoon. Cecil Hurt, welcome into the game here in T-Town.
Hi, Ryan. How are you today?
I'm doing great, doing great. As many of all of us in this media, it's that first week out of the gate. It's kind of hard to even catch your breath a little bit. I know you've been even more busier than I have because it's crazy. It's a hectic time of the year, but it's a fun time of the year as college football gets started here in T-Town.
It is. It's like climbing a steep hill to that first game, and you get close to the pinnacle, and the oxygen gets thin. So I'm fighting the thin oxygen at the moment, but should be fine for Saturday.
No doubt. So you're not questionable or probable or doubtful. You'll be okay.
I'm questionable every day, Ryan. It's that's just my personality, but I'll be there.
Gotcha. Well, Cecil, I want to pick your brain on a lot of different things, and I made an assumption going into the break, and I said that I thought that you would be the media guest for tonight, and I said I know that's making a really big assumption, but I think that's been a tradition. Like we play the first game, and Cecil Hurt is the media guest with Nick Saban and Eli Gold here on this station. So you will be that guest tonight, right?
I am the media guest.
You already got your questions preloaded. You ready to go?
Yeah, you always wait to see. Coach Saban will come in and he'll have some opening comments, and so sometimes you try and judge from that. He'll have touched on what you had thought you wanted to ask already, but there are a lot of different things that and you also try to defer to the callers and the people who have questions a little bit, but there are a lot of different things I think going into this first game that people want to know. He's not going to answer all of them probably, but I'll certainly give him the opportunity to.
Well, as you always do. And Cecil Hurt, Tuscaloosa News, Tidesports.com. Cecil, before we get into the hard news of the conversation, I think this is also very newsworthy. Can you guys talk about your coverage at the Tuscaloosa News? Because I know there's some excitement as you guys are amping up that as we get closer to college football. Talk about what you guys are going to provide at the T News and Tidesports.com.
Yeah, we're going to continue. I'm going to have we'll continue as the sports editors. I have been, and people who followed us last year know we had Ben Jones, who's gone on to graduate school, and Taryn Locke, who's gone on to work for NASCAR.com, and they both did a great job for us. But we're very happy to be able to find a replacement for them in Brett Hudson. Brett has been around Tuscaloosa before, is familiar with Alabama, went over to Columbus, Starkville area, and covered Mississippi State for several years now, and done a great job for them, football and basketball primarily, football and baseball primarily, and I think he'll do a great job for us. And we're fortunate to have him. He's already written a couple of things. He has an analysis of Alabama's first down passing and some very interesting Steve Sarkisian statistics, which is hard to say, but he has those up on Tide Sports right now. So I look forward to having a new crew, a little bit of a new crew on the road. We've expanded our podcast. I did one with Clint Lamb and Hunter Johnson this week. Clint's been working with us. Clint's a former college football player, played at Birmingham Southern. Hunter is a jack of all trades, of course, and a big basketball fan, big football fan. So it's been fun to work with those guys, and look forward to seeing how the first game is going to go.
There is no doubt, and the interaction and the different things that you guys are able to provide. Tide Sports on the Twitter account, Tidesports.com. We're talking with Cecil Hurt, and I mentioned to the audience as we're going into your break, Brett Hudson's a guy who was an intern with us. He busted his butt, a hardworking guy. Now, this was when he was a student. I know he's taken those skills and been able to continue those, and I see him on the Twitter account and working with Matt White, which is somebody that a lot of us know in Tuscaloosa over in Mississippi State and the Columbus newspaper. So, Brett, welcome back to T-Town. Cecil, let me go to Dylan Moses. Your reaction to the young man who went down and how Alabama was going to count on him on that side and how that will impact Saturday's game.
Well, I think everybody's personal reaction is just tremendous disappointment for Dylan, who's really a good person. Was at SEC Media Days this year, was a very good representative of Alabama, a guy who's it would be easy if you know Dylan and if you know a little bit about Dylan's backstory. It would be easy for Dylan to have the big head, the big ego. He's a guy that was featured in USA Today when he was in the 8th grade because LSU and Alabama had both offered him a scholarship as an 8th grader, and so he's been in the spotlight that long. But he's managed to be humble about it and continue to do that, and was a team leader this year. And I think everybody, whether they are Alabama fans or opposing players and coaches, have reached out to Dylan and hope he does well in his rehab and see what the future holds when the time comes.
All right, so let me step into that role when you look at Shane Lee and Christian Harris. You've been covering Alabama football for a long time. When you look at starting two true freshmen and you're 4 or 5 days out where you're having to make these adjustments, what are you expecting from that position?
Well, I've seen it before, not in an opener, but in 1983, by the mid-season mark, Cornelius Bennett and Wayne Davis were really the two linebackers who were both true freshmen. Now, in Cornelius Bennett, you're talking about
and only Cecil Hurt could be able to connect us with that history of Alabama.
Maybe so, but Biscuit's a Hall of Famer, and I'm not going to put that kind of expectation on anybody. Wayne, for many years, was the leading tackler in Alabama history as schedules have gotten larger. He's been passed for that, but went on to a great NFL career. So if guys have the ability, they can do the job, and we'll see. I think athletics, that Christian and Shane Lee have the ability. They've shown the ability. We're contending for second team spots from the outset of August, even when both Dylan and Josh were healthy, and would have been in the playing rotation anyway. Now, what's complicated, as you know, is who's going to call signals from that Mike linebacker, because you can lose one guy sometimes, and the other guy can help him out. If you remember 2 years ago, Sean Dion had that role and went out, and they had to adjust that. But you still had some experienced guys around him and guys who knew what they did, and it wasn't the first game. It wasn't 3 days before the first game. So there's differences. There are always differences in history, but it has happened. They bounced back from Sean Dion's injury and won the national championship. Doesn't mean that Sean Dion wasn't missed, because he was. And so you can adjust to it, but there's no way of knowing. Nick Saban said this yesterday, until you see him in a game, until they have to do it at game speed, there's just no way to be 100% certain. You feel like they're students of the game. You feel like they're responding well in meetings. They recognize things on film, but that's not the same thing. And that dastardly David Cutcliffe, he'll try and trick them too. He'll give them a look and then do something that they haven't seen on film off of that look, and you have to be ready for that kind of thing. So, athletically, I think they'll be fine. The question is how much they can have thrown at them, how much Pete Golding, if any, modifies the scheme, which is a complicated scheme in many ways, and what effect game speed has on them.
Cecil, is there anything that you can do from a standpoint of getting some of those veterans? Because you look at some positions, outside linebacker, even at the third level, at the secondary, especially those safeties, you've got some experiences of guys that are listed as co-starters. Can that do anything to maybe alleviate some of that pressure and maybe, not saying the signal caller, but maybe give those guys more responsibility where the other guys maybe don't have as much responsibility? And maybe this is more of a question for Coach Saban, but you almost think of maybe the responsibility can kind of be divided up among a couple of different guys.
You can do that. It's hard to do on the fly 3 days out, because that's a big adjustment. So people have to know what their responsibilities are. You can't be in the process of getting aligned and not know who's making the call, because you've only practiced it 3 days. So you want to develop that ability over the course of the season, you'll have some of it on Saturday, but you certainly won't have it to the extent that you would have if you just had a strong signal caller at the middle linebacker, Mike linebacker position. So that's one of the adjustments that they'll make over the course of time, and it may help them in some situations Saturday. But again, that's when Nick Saban talks about it being a character check, not just for Dylan, but for everybody. Now all of a sudden it's something different for Terrell Lewis. It's something different for Anthony Jennings. It's something different if they've got guys who play inside and outside. And the other thing is, football's a contact sport. All of a sudden, you may see Jalen Moody or Ollie Cahoe or Markel Benton have to step in there. They have to be ready too. So there are a lot of moving parts to any injury. And of course, the most important thing is on the player level and Dylan's future. But in terms of how your defense operates, or if it's an offensive player, how your offense operates, it affects everybody, not just plug and play, as Nick Saban has sort of said in the past.
So I'm going to throw you one that I don't know if you'll be able to answer this, but it has been a buzz for several days now. I know all of us have heard all about it, but I'm going to ask you about the possibility of a suspensions. I know there's some media that have went out and reported that. I've followed you kind of closely, and you're one of those guys that reports things, but when you do, you're pretty certain that it's going to happen. What do you expect?
Well, here's what I would say. And I don't know if you heard Coach Saban on the Dan Patrick show this morning, but he was asked a completely different off-the-wall question about if Tua ever parked in his parking place.
I saw your tweet. I didn't listen to the
interview. Yeah. If y'all can round up, Nick's first couple of minutes, it's pretty interesting audio. But what he said was, sometimes you handle things differently if it's a key player, if it's an upperclassman, if it's somebody that the team is looking to, and those are the players that they may have a little extra on. And so it would be possible. It certainly wouldn't. I'm not going to name a name because then you're saying, oh, this guy's in trouble. If a guy's the third string center, to come in and say, well, you're not going to start this game, that's no penalty at all. For him, he wasn't going to start the game anyway. So you try and match that and show that everybody is accountable. At the same time, a lot more goes into it than just a cut and dry, you did this, you're going to get this. It's not like mandatory sentence. There's community service involved. There are other things involved. There's showing up for class involved. There's attitude involved. And so I think that Nick Saban thinks those things over. I think he's watched them this week, and then I think he'll make a final decision on Saturday. That certainly could be missed playing time for guys of whatever duration. Could be you're not going to start. Could be you're going to miss a quarter. Could be you're going to miss a half. I think all of those things are under consideration. I can't say I know what it'll be because I don't know that that's been finalized yet. So we'll see. We'll see. It wouldn't surprise me. Certainly, given his answer today, it wouldn't surprise me if some guys missed some time. But it might surprise me if everybody that was involved missed a half. So we'll see. One thing it's not. I will say this, Ryan. One thing it's not. His decision's not related to Dylan Moses. Because whether a running back, pick out whichever one you want to name, gets 5 extra carries in the first half of the Duke game, isn't going to correct the issues that you have to deal with because Dylan Moses is out for the year. Those are two separate things.
Cecil Hurt, Tuscaloosa News, Tidesports.com. Cecil, as always, we thank you so much for your time. We'll be listening tonight with Eli Gold and Nick Saban starting at 7 o'clock here in T-Town on Tide 100.9 and throughout the state on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. We appreciate your time.
Sure, Ryan. Glad to do it.